Hey, this is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one's awesome. It's with Kyle from Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue in London, Ontario. Yeah, that's in Canada. He is putting out both amazing fried chicken as well as amazing barbecue. I love talking to people like Kyle because he's in the early stages of his career. He's blowing up right now, but he is on a higher trajectory, and it's a good chance for people that maybe want to do pop-ups or have a friend that wants to do a pop-up, how he got into this, but now he's working out of his own spot, but he went that pop-up route. He actually has a deep background in culinary. He films this in his car while sitting in his car, so this is wonderful. So if you're listening on the podcast side, you could jump to the YouTube side and see him sitting in his car holding his phone. I can't thank him enough for taking the time. His schedule is super jam-packed and busy. If you're ever in the area, he describes where he's located, and I'll put a map below. You got to give him a chance. I can't wait to visit him. He also has a bogline pit, which bogline makes spectacular pits. So this is a great one. Sit back, relax, enjoy this, and be sure to visit your local barbecue joint. Well, how are you doing today, Kyle?
Oh, can't complain. Busier than all heck.
It sounds
I
like it.
actually could step out for a few minutes, which is nice.
Yeah, then that's good. That's good. We'll make this compact and try to pack as much information as we can. You said right now, just so people know, you're in your car. If because if say someone's listening to this on a podcast, your wife's in the house or in the office, isn't she making dessert?
So
You said?
she's basically the dessert pastry section is like right next to my office. So you can hear the immersion blender going. You wouldn't be able to hear me at all. And I'm not a
Okay.
loud person usually. So
Excellent. Well, hopefully you're loud enough. I'm sure you're loud enough for this to work out perfectly. What? So first off, I want people to know you're in London, Ontario. Can you kind of explain geographically where that is? And I
for
Googled it,
sure.
but
It's kind of an interesting spot. So I grew up about 8 hours northwest of here,
okay.
and all of Ontario basically borders Michigan. So we border Michigan, we border New York. So there's actually a lot of spots you can find that, there's a lot of crossover from, the United States to Canada.
Mhm.
We are 2 hours ish away from Toronto. Depends how fast you actually, put your foot down, but
Okay.
we're not that far away. And honestly, it's quite an easy and beautiful drive.
You're also what like almost like 3 hours from Detroit.
2.5, I'd say, depending on the
Yeah.
border.
Okay. So that's a kind of and then you're from what would it be Buffalo? Is that your the next if you came into New York, you'd be coming in through Buffalo?
Yeah, you'd be coming in Buffalo, and then where I'm from originally, Sault Ste. Marie. There's Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, which is like Upper Peninsula, Michigan.
Okay. So you're from Michigan.
I'm from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. There's the Twin Cities, so
Oh, I
it's
didn't.
actually a little confusing.
Okay. So you're
There's a Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and a Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
so you're born and raised, you're Canadian.
Canadian.
Canadian. Okay. But then is it so do people come down? Do people go down to the United States for vacations and stuff? Is that something common?
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
So
Okay.
from where I grew up, it's actually because the drinking age in Canada is 19. A lot of people would come from Michigan to Canada, and then when
Yes.
we turn 21, it's like a rite of passage to go over and drink all the cheap alcohol from the states.
It's true. No, it's funny because I went to when I was 19, I went with a friend and we went up and down. We went cross country, but we popped into Canada. We went to Vancouver, we went to Winnipeg. What was your path? Was your path into food?
So when I was really young, I got into hospitality. I've been in hospitality probably going on 20 years now. Everybody's like, "Oh, like yes, you're so young. It's like I'm almost 40 and I've been doing this for half of my life
Yeah.
essentially." So,
Yeah.
but barbecue has been probably the last 15 years. I started a restaurant with somebody probably about 14 years ago doing barbecue, had no idea what I was doing. Resources online, it's kind of a lot of mysticism and a lot of bull.
Yeah.
So it was you didn't really know what you're doing back then, a lot of trial and error,
That's
but I
true.
have a firm background in culinary. I was a butcher for a long time as well, so that kind of helped.
Yeah, that helps a lot. What sparked that interest in barbecue and what started that business? Was it, did you go down and have some barbecue in the United States or did you just see it online and thought it looked interesting or TV?
Uh, I've always been interested in like the more meat heavy side of culinary. So
Mhm.
when I was in culinary, I was in like garde manger doing like terrines and pates and sausages, a lot of meat trimming and butchery. And I think I really just fell in love with like using lesser known or lesser used cuts and trying to make something amazing from something that normally wouldn't be so great. So I think that really pushed me down the barbecue lane.
Was there like an aha moment when you cooked something that you thought, okay, barbecue is going to be more
I
prominent
had
in
a
my life?
$99 shitty offset smoker and I cooked a brisket on it and it was absolutely horrible by my standards today, but it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was one of those moments where you're just like, oh, this is so sublime. This is so amazing. This is so just, you took this hard, you know, tough cut of meat and you made something absolutely beautiful with it.
Yeah, and it's gratifying as long as you didn't like burn it or totally ruin it. It actually is a great moment in your life. I
It
remember
is.
that first moment. Yeah, especially even with the pork butt too. When I did
Yeah.
that, I thought, okay, well, it's like it's edible. I can mix it up with sauce. It's yeah, like and usually if you're with friends drinking and hanging out, like people really appreciate your time and effort. I think that's.
I think so.
But when did you start? When did this incarnation of what you're doing now? Did you break off from that partner, or did you get a pit, a bigger pit, or what?
So it's kind of an interesting story. We just kind of all parted ways. There's actually three partners in that place. We all parted ways. And I had actually met Jason Rees, who was on the Pork Ninjas competition team. And I kind of fell in with him for a while and I was working for him for a couple of years. We were still working on like cook shacks and like it wasn't really doing offset smoking at all, but really fell back into love with it when I was working for him.
Mm,
And then I decided he closed his shop and I actually decided to move to London, which I was in Toronto at the time.
okay.
And there was nothing here for barbecue. And I wanted to launch something, but I had, maybe a couple $100 in my pocket moving here.
Yeah.
And I was still working in Toronto at the time. So I was commuting. I'd stay at my mother in law's place for the week and go back and forth to work. And basically, I refused kitchen work at first when I moved here. I've been in it for so long, I just kind of felt like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And I really wanted my own place, but I didn't know how to get there. Some things kind of fell in place a little later on, and everything just kind of ended up working out. And basically, once I met Nick, that was the true connection that really pushed things into high gear because we were just doing fried chicken before.
You were doing like pop-ups, like fried chicken pop-ups, or
Yeah, we actually started with all the breweries in town. I had a really good working relationship with about five or six breweries, and we were just doing all different pop-ups at the different breweries. We did ramen, we did fried chicken. Like it was a little bit everything under the sun, but the fried chicken ones really took off, and it really helped us push the business in the direction we wanted to.
was there a fried chicken recipe? Like, do you have something from like a family fried chicken recipe or something that you had played with all over the like throughout the years? Because fried chicken, there's good fried chicken and then there's really good fried chicken.
There is, and it was a recipe like we kind of worked on for like 15 years. I've used it at every place I've ever worked,
Oh,
basically, and we just kind of souped it up here and there, and now it is my perfect fried chicken recipe. Not everybody's, I will say that, but I think it is my perfect fried chicken recipe for myself.
and it looks. I'll put pictures. Hopefully, I can put pictures while we're talking of it, so that so if you're on the YouTube side, you'll be able to see it. Did you meet so Nick? When you're talking about Nick, you're talking about Nick from Bog Lion. It's Bog
Yeah,
Lion Barbecue, but Bog Lion Smokers. And so, how did you get? Did he come to one of your pop-ups or come up?
actually, we had already launched the restaurant as Kyle's Fried Chicken, and Nick actually kind of out of the blue. I've been looking for offset smokers forever. I actually got a Cook Shack FEC 120 for the restaurant, and I was kind of looking. I was like, I want to upgrade my game. I want to get to the next step. And Nick was really just like, hey man, like we're over here. Let's talk. And he just kind of he inserted himself in a very good way.
No, but they're making outstanding product, and
Oh, for sure.
it's also it to me, and it's heirloom product. This product that you can keep forever, and it looks beautiful. That's that's awesome. So did you get a pit just recently? Is that your second one, or is that or have you did
So
was that your
that would
first?
technically be my first.
Okay,
So that one, so we were originally thinking about doing 1,000 gallon, and it was basically like everything under the sun just happened that I couldn't do this 1,000 gallon deal. Like we had a fridge break, and I was away on my bachelor party, and we lost all of our product, and it was just one thing after another that like it was just a sign that it wasn't going to work at that exact moment. So we'd still been in talks after that, and I was just saying, Nick, like I love what you're doing. I just don't know when I can do this and how I can do this. And all of a sudden, he's like, "We're building this pit for the Bob and Mo show for when Mo Cason and Bob came down to Chatham and they were doing the cooking school." And he's like, "They're going to cook on it once, and it could be your pit after that if you want." So the stars aligned there, and kind of just it was like forcing my hand in a good way.
so that's the pit that you got.
Yeah, that is the pit. So Mo actually cooked on it before I cooked on it.
What's the pit that you've been showing recently? Is that a second one, or is that pit?
That is that one, yeah.
That is that
So
one.
it's Lucille, which actually she's not too far away from me right now. She's kind of in the parking lot back there.
Okay. That's cool. That's
But
awesome that you have that.
we're kind of at a capacity standpoint of a 500 gallons not going to do it anymore.
Your food looks fantastic. Do you want to talk about what you're serving? And you're only closed 2 days a week, right?
Yeah, so we're open 5 days a week, but right now we're actually only serving chicken Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we have our fried chicken. We don't have our barbecue Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
It can be a little confusing,
Okay.
but
So
Wednesday or it's Thursday through Saturday, we do full menu. We do a full Texas menu. So we're making our own sausages in house. We're doing brisket, pulled pork, ribs, turkey, and it changes on the regular. We like to keep things, moving all the time and play with things. And pork belly burnt ends come on the menu. The smoked burgers come on the menu for a day or two.
and you always let people know via social media if they or is that or does your website change or it's just because your
Uh,
menu could you have a menu that pops up on your link tree, would it?
yeah, so I mean, it changes on there quite frequently. Sometimes we'll put a special up just as a story post and see what happens.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're changing it constantly on Instagram and on the link tree there.
Okay, so then the days that you serve the full barbecue menu, can you also get fried chicken?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
Okay,
fried chicken's
so
all the time.
all the time.
We would have a riot if we didn't serve our fried chicken.
So are people getting there early? Like, is there a line on the weekends?
It's weird because people don't really understand the line culture in Texas here, especially. And a lot of people get very upset when we're selling out at, 6 o'clock at night and we're open till 8. And the other thing is we're actually partnered with a brewery as well. So our hours are kind of semi dictated by our relationship with them. And obviously we want to have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
So we are open a little bit later and we try to have product hopefully to the end, but that doesn't always work out for us.
So you could probably stretch that with fried chicken, right?
Yeah, we try and if we're out of brisket and pulled pork and everything else, then you know
Try to sway
we're
people
kind
to
of struck with the only orders for fried chicken, and we actually do about 80 pounds of smoked wings pretty much every 2 days or 3 days.
wow, that's a good amount.
It's crazy.
How big is your operation? Because I know you talked about your wife, but is it how many people are you working with you?
We have right now we have two guys that are working a mix of part-time and full-time, and then we have a third guy who is literally just once or twice a week. He actually has a full-time job. He just comes in and helps out when he can. And then my wife is actually a nurse, so she works full time and just kind of helps out when she can. It's a little
Oh,
crazy.
no, but that's how you do it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you enjoying it?
I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So is this concept that you have because it's called Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, and I don't even think there's a fried chicken and barbecue. Maybe there is somewhere in the South, but there's not. I haven't heard of a like Tom's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, but I'm sure it exists. But is it something that is kind of are there other fried chicken places near you? Is that something that
Yeah, there's actually there was that whole fried chicken resurgence with like, the
oh the
Popeyes and
Nashville?
yeah, and then everybody's doing Nashville hot. And we were actually the first place here in London doing Nashville hot way, I don't know, even before we were called Kyle's Fried Chicken, we used to do salt and swine as our pop-ups.
Mhm.
So we were doing it forever and it just kind of we have probably three or four major competitors now, and
Okay.
there's no Dave's Hot Chicken or Al's Hot Chicken here yet, but I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's you're creating your fan base and you're creating your base of customers right now. And so what desserts and what sides do you have?
So desserts, my wife does a whole bunch of different puddings. So we actually have a cherry cheesecake pudding,
Wow.
banana pudding. You got to have banana pudding.
Yeah.
We do right now for seasonal, we have a pumpkin spice pudding because, well, you have to.
And it's
And
fun. It's fun. It's
yeah, and we
of
also
the
do a peach
season.
cobbler pudding.
A peach cobbler. Oh wow, that sounds
Yeah.
really good.
And
And
then
then
sides, we're always switching our sides because we're over here in Canada. We have to have a poutine on the menu. It's a must.
I like poutine.
I've tried to take it off, and people literally are just like, "You have to." Like beer and poutine. Oh, okay. And there's something about fries, cheese, and gravy that everybody loves.
So do you guys mix in meats in that too?
Yep. So you can add brisket, pulled pork, or chicken tenders to your poutine.
Okay.
And then we also have pickle fries, like a loaded fry dill pickle style. We have the usual kind of things: the beans, the cornbread, coleslaw, and then we usually switch it off seasonally. We do like fried Brussels sprouts in the summer, and just kind of switch it up all the time.
Nice. So then you are like you mentioned, people get upset if you sell out. You are selling out. So people if they want to, if they're listening to this in Canada, they should come, or they're visiting Ontario or London. They should come possibly in the first 3 quarters of your day as opposed to the last
Yeah,
quarter.
if you're coming at 7 o'clock, the chances are we might not have brisket.
Yeah.
We'll have something. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll have something.
And do you think you'll be getting another pit from Bogland?
Um,
Possibly.
Nick and I have been talking about it, and we're kind of working something out right now. I'm going
Okay.
to be doing most of their barbecue schools and
Oh,
doing a
cool.
lot of traveling with them. So we're going to build something probably really special just to kind of showcase some more.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And do you do stuff like do you have merch and do you do classes and stuff right now?
Yeah, so right now we're actually doing the barbecue school with Bogline. So they're organizing the class, and I'm just going to be teaching it.
Cool.
We will be offering some sausage classes and stuff in the future. But right now it's probably just going to be the two. I'm just too busy to do anything else with that. But
Perfect.
we were actually printing our own merch in house. We were screen printing everything. We had a little station set up,
Uh,
but we're at the point now too where we're getting too busy for that. So we do have a merch section. We do have hats. We have shirts. All of our own barbecue rubs and sauces are also in the showcase there.
but you can't, can you ship to the United States or
I will ship you a package. I don't think I can actually sell anything to the United States
yeah, probably
until we
not.
have so it's called a CFIA inspection, so
Okay.
Canadian
Yeah.
Food and Agriculture kind of thing.
Okay. So we'll
So
keep
as it stands right now,
you can't.
no, but if
No.
somebody really wants them, sure I can figure it out for
You
them.
can figure something out. Okay, definitely. Well,
Yeah.
they could reach you via DM or email if they had to. But it's now also too, you because I had seen you'd come down to Zavala's, right? For was that for a
Yep.
class that you did?
Well, I'd actually ended up there because I have a friend Millie who is a another guy smoking in Hamilton. He's Jesse Q's is his actual barbecue name. So
Okay.
he does a pop-up, does the whole line style. And he does it once a month, twice a month kind of thing. So after chatting with him, he was like, "Yeah, like you know what? Go down, meet my buddies at Zavala's. That's where I like learned a lot of my stuff, and go hang out." And it was just an instant friendship with those guys. They're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, "Here, you want to hang out? Feel free, come down anytime. Bring your team." So we're going back in January, hopefully with the whole team.
Ah, that's so cool. So, but you have gone but down there with him, or you went down by yourself?
I went down, but well, just me and the wife, and
Yeah.
it was actually kind of funny because we got off the plane, and the first time that I went down there with my buddies there, it was 16 minutes to Goldie's from Dallas Fort Worth Airport. So when I looked at the my cell phone getting off the plane this time, it was like 16 minutes to Zavala's, and I'm like, oh great. My wife was hangry. She was so just ready to eat. And we got there and it was probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they were almost out of everything. And the guy sees my Kyle's hat because I was wearing one of my own branded hats, like a loser.
No, but it's a smart
And
marketing thing. But yes, it's kind of
he
silly,
goes,
but yes.
"You're Kyle from Kyle's Fried Chicken?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he just whips out a whole platter. And I'm just like, "Oh, thanks." He's like, "Millie told us you were coming." So
Ah, that is so great. That's
it was really
hospitality,
nice.
right?
Yes, sir.
Definitely. But it helps the situation. It calms the hunger feelings because when you get really hungry, you do get pretty angry or
Yeah.
irritable is what happens.
And honestly, like my wife had never had barbecue like that. She had never had, and it's very Tex-Mexy influenced. And Joe was just amazing. And little Jojo was there and he was talking with us and it was just an experience. And she left so satisfied and she was like, "This is what you were talking about."
Mhm. And it's yeah, I've taken people until they've seen it for real, they don't understand it because it's not just the food, it's the people, but also it's the atmosphere and it's everything, the camaraderie, yeah, it's just it's different, it's special. I'm glad you got to
It is.
experience that. And it helps too for bringing coming back and seeing what you're doing there. It makes sense now probably to her.
Yeah. And it was kind of like just seeing where I'm coming from and where I wanted to level up my game. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people ask me, what was like the best bite of barbecue you had in Texas? And I said, the pork ribs at Zavala's and Goldie's. And everybody's like, what about the brisket? I'm like, the brisket is amazing everywhere. I don't think you understand. It is
Yeah, it's like that
absolutely
high.
stunning everywhere. Yeah. It sets the bar high, but the pork ribs, it was like a sleeper hit.
Mhm.
You just didn't know until you had it. And you're like, oh, wow, I've never had ribs like that before.
Mhm. Well, it's like having and because people have had ribs everywhere, like everyone's had it,
Yeah.
but they until you have it for for real. there's something different. It's definitely
There's something so different.
yeah. And then with the sausage, because of your butchery skills, is that why sausage became like a no-brainer for you?
Yeah, I mean, every joint, Texas Trinity has to have sausage. So I've had recipes for years, and it's all things we've either developed or things that have been passed on to me from other butchers, and then we just kind of converted them to more of a smoked sausage recipe. And even like my wife is actually Portuguese, so her mother actually
Oh,
showed me their version of chorizo, like chouriço, and
that's
so I've
cool.
kind of adapted some of that into it, and
I love
we get to
that.
play with flavors a lot here.
What like so what right now what sausage are you running?
Actually, we just finished stuffing 100 pounds of 4 different types of sausage today. So we did a farmer sausage, a Texas hot link, chorizo, and jalapeno cheddar.
What's a farmer sausage?
It's just like a salt, pepper, garlic, very basic. And then we put a little bit of mustard seed in it.
Okay. Like something that's that people have in Canada, or is that something that people? Because I've never heard farmer people call it. Is that
So
just maybe
it's weird.
a style?
I never heard of it either until probably a few years ago. And I think it's just like a pseudonym for like basically a very basic sausage.
Okay.
And I think it's just like what the farmer would do on the farm when they had extra stuff kicking around. And
Yeah.
all you
That
had
makes
was
sense.
salt, pepper, and maybe some garlic kicking around.
Yeah, and it's a way to cure meat, and that's perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. I've never heard. I like. Thank you for educating me and the audience. So then, would you have four sausages available at one time, or do you like kind
Um,
of stagger them?
we'll stagger them a little bit. Some of them will be cold smoked for tomorrow. So basically, I'm going to be in at about 5 in the morning. We'll get the smoker going, cold smoke those, hot smoke them to finish. But a lot of them will probably actually end up in our showcase. So we do sell our own sausage packed up and ready to go as well.
Oh, cool. Okay, I didn't know. So, what other whether do you have just sausage like that, or do you have brisket or other things?
Sometimes we have bacon, we'll have brisket, we'll have a few different things, whatever's kind of, the flavor of the week kind of thing. If I'm feeling like we have a few extra moments, we might try and make something cool to put in there just to showcase what we can do.
Are you a standalone place inside the brewery or next to the brewery, or how is this?
So it's kind of a interesting setup. So the brewery kind of took us on after I had been doing all these pop-ups,
Mhm.
and we kind of were converting. They had a whole warehouse space on the one side, and we actually put in a full kitchen,
Oh,
and then we actually built a storefront in the front. So they started having bands in the back, and we used to serve out of the back, but it got way too loud. It was absolutely insanely loud. I already have tinnitus and some hearing issues, so it's like I didn't want to be back there.
no.
So we put in a storefront, and we also do a lot of takeout. So it was impossible to navigate to the end of the brewery to get to our booth. We just made it a lot easier. So we have a whole storefront. It's got refrigeration in it. So we have, basically like a pop cooler full of stuff. And then we're actually building a deli counter there too. So we can showcase some of our other stuff in there.
It's really intriguing what you've done, and it says something that you can start something with that. Like you didn't know you were in this direction 10 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 6 years ago. Like this is
Even a year
nice.
ago, I
Yeah,
mean, we were doing 3 briskets a week a year ago. And now we're doing somewhere in the range of, 15 to 25. It really
wow.
varies, but it's just weird seeing how things have changed and how our demographic has changed. And if we're open 4 days a week with barbecue instead of three, what would it change? Like it's just there's so many things and so many variables that we're kind of seeing everything change and shift in the market right now.
Wow. What would be your ideal order for someone if they came in like a fresh person who's never been there before? What would you recommend?
The turkey.
It's just a big
Especially
platter
somebody
of
who's
10
never
pounds of
been
turkey. No, I'm joking.
somebody who's never been to Texas and has never had, like a smoked brine turkey breast. Like
It's so good.
it blows you away. You never expect it. You've had like deli meat before, and then you've had grandma's dry turkey, and
Yeah.
it's something so different than anybody else has had.
But do you like when if someone said, just give me something, give me a platter of everything? Is that you put that together? Or is that like kind of
Oh yeah, so we actually have platters on our menu. I tried to take them off. I tried to do everything by pound. It's still kind of a push to get people to understand how that works. You can educate people all day long, but it's people are very set in their ways and reserved here. So
Mhm.
some people get it, some people don't. But we do have platters kind of pre-formed. We have our meat sweats, which has half pound of brisket, half pound of pulled pork, and 1 pound of wings. And a meat attack that has all the same as that, but then it also has 2 sausages, half rack of ribs, and then you get 3 sides with that as well.
I don't. You didn't mention turkey. Can you add turkey onto that if you want?
So we actually just put turkey back on the menu. So we
Okay.
actually took it off for the summer. So it's kind of a weird thing here in London. Everybody has a cottage, so they all leave the city. Nobody is around on the weekends except for tourists.
Huh.
So during the winter, we're actually busier than the summer, despite maybe a 3 foot snowfall in January.
So what is London known for? Like, why are people coming?
It's kind of a weird thing. London used to have an insanely good music scene. We had a really good art scene. It's kind of all over the place with a lot of artistic and music based things.
Okay.
There's a lot of theaters as well, but it's a small town feel
Yeah.
for a large city. It's
Okay.
also a school city, so we have a university and a college here that literally during September everybody comes back and the city is flooded. If you get a moment, look up Talbot Street Bridge,
Okay.
and you'll get a funny story. Anybody who looks it up will just probably laugh. It's known in September that a moving truck will always hit this bridge because it's so low.
So there's always like some damage or a truck stuck.
Yeah, I guess that's what London really is known for, is getting trucks stuck under this bridge. Well, that's probably the only thing it's really known for. It's a
So
teeny small town.
are there hotels and places like there's places that folks can come and stay, right, to come visit you?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's tons of hotels. So one of the things that London does have a lot of is hockey tournaments.
Oh,
So during like September till probably March, there are all the Canadian rep teams come through here. All the basically under 18s come through here, and it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. Hotels are jammed every weekend, so be careful.
wow. So then, but you also because seems like there's a lot of stuff coming through. So that those are your clientele too. Like, how are people discovering you? Are they discovering word of mouth or through online or how? How's this?
Mostly word of mouth and online. Our social presence is pretty good. We try to post as much as we can, but it obviously gets a little crazy trying to post when you're busy.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's word of mouth. Even travelers. So the brewery we're partnered with, Forked River, they're actually one of the only breweries in the city to have a highway sign. So we get a lot of natural clients from that.
Wow.
Our Google rating's like a 4.9, so a lot of people look up best food in London and we come up. So
Hey.
it's a lot of organic kind
Yeah.
of people searching for us or
That's
searching
cool.
for barbecue.
I'm glad you mentioned the brewery because I was going to ask that because I wanted to know because they should get props, but also it's a good way for people if they somehow forget Kyle's fried chicken and barbecue, which I don't think they would. They'll know they can look for the brewery. So it's called what? What?
Forked River Brewing Company.
Fork River. Okay, cool. Is there anything else that you want people to know about you or your wife or the business or what the future holds for you?
Uh,
The foreseeable future.
well, I just want to keep making great barbecue. I want to keep learning. And so hopefully when we go down in January with the whole team, we can hit up, Zavala's for a couple days, maybe Goldie's for a couple days, Leroy and Lewis.
Yeah,
And the one thing that I can say about the barbecue community, just amazing people. Everybody is so friendly. Everybody's so willing to share. So I just want to say that if you're wanting to barbecue, you want to get into the community, talk to people, they will help you.
yeah.
Every single person will help you.
And it's not like how 15 years ago, how you said it was so secretive or so kind of mystic, like you had no idea. It's
Yeah.
different now. There's like two jerks and the rest are all nice people.
I've got to meet a lot of my barbecue heroes when I've been in Texas, and honestly, everybody is amazing. Matt Pittman, Chud, like everybody is just amazing, and they
Yeah.
will take the time to talk to you.
Yeah, good folks. Some of the best, like you've mentioned people that are some of the best humans that I've met,
Yeah,
and people that have like gone through like Joe Zavalos. He's been through a lot of diversity,
yeah,
adverse. Excuse me, diversity. A lot of adverse in his life. Like he's had cancer and he beat it,
yeah.
and it seems like definitely that he grabs hold of life, and that's huge.
I think that's a big thing. Is just everybody wants to build a community in the barbecue world.
Yeah.
It's not about competition. It's about making each other do better, be better, and help each other.
How far away is Jesse's Q from you?
It's about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Okay. So is it
Yeah,
more? Is it west or east of you?
he would be.
Or is he don't
It's
even
kind
know?
of more north, really.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think, like, can some people make like a Canadian barbecue tour? Is that something that can happen yet, or is it a couple of
Oh,
years
for
away?
sure. I mean, if you're coming from Toronto, so if you're in Toronto, you got Cherry Street, you've got Beach Hill, you've got there's quite a few in Toronto, but then yeah, heading over to Jesse Q's, there's also Pampered Pig Barbecue.
Oh yeah, yeah, Pepper Pig. Yeah, yeah. I want to
Yeah.
contact them.
So
I'll definitely have something like down the road. I'd like to talk to them. Yeah.
so yeah, definitely him, Jesse Q's. Honestly, there's so many people that are doing pop-ups right now. Oh, Andrew Golden.
Oh
Can't
yeah.
forget him.
Yeah, why would I just talked to Andrew? Yeah, Andrew's awesome. He's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
He's a
So
great dude. And
yeah.
like all these guys, we just randomly I'll message him or he'll message me. And I would say hit all those places over any spots first, but always check out the spots because there's something good at all of them.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. And I like hitting places too before they become really big. Like it's fun to go to you, like, because these are the early days of you're still kind of sorting out your menu, kind of figuring out what people love. You're like, you have a built-in idea, but it's just nice. I like the early days of people's businesses in general.
I mean, it's a lot more fun, right? Because you get to see as it progresses.
Hmm. Definitely. Like with Moose Craft Barbecue, I would I was going to their house, like there was no one there. Like there was people there, like I got there, like everyone had already left, and there was a little bit of food left. But I saw their progression to, you know, being like one of the best barbecue joints in the country, which is
Oh,
amazing.
for
So
sure.
yeah, this is cool. Thank you so much for taking the time. Sorry, it's been back and forth. I love how
Oh, no worries.
it's gotten dark behind. If you're on listen to this on podcast, go to YouTube because you can see like it's slowly getting dark, like darker behind you. So
Yeah,
it's
we're
good.
kind of at the sun starting to set time,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
almost the time to go home.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
All right. Have a great day.